Hey, welcome back to Planet Hex. I'm Andrew Horn. I'm the author of a book called VHS Ate My Brain, and its sequel, VHS Ate My Brain 2, The Revenge, amongst other things. But this is Planet Hex. This is a show where I talk about a lot of VHS tapes, retro movies, comics, games, writing life, and a bunch of other stuff that scratches the retro itch, action figures, and all kinds of things like that. I haven't had a video up in a couple of months. You may notice my voice is a bit weird. I've had the bug that's been going around everywhere. Thanks, kids. I got that from them. Picked up from school, so appreciated. And I've had a lot of other things going on in life and just health and life stuff that I won't bore you with here on YouTube, because that's not what you're here for. What you're here for is to talk about cult movies. And I wanted to get another video out by the end of the year, just so I could let you know that I'm still here, I'm making stuff. So I haven't been around for a couple of months, and for the last few weeks I've felt like crap. My voice is not in great shape. One thing I did get to do though was take my son Alex over to the 80s video shop in Alfreton for their Merry Artemis event, where they had an Art the Clown lookalike hanging out and taking photos dressed as Santa Claus, handing out gifts. It was great fun. So we didn't go for the first hour. We may have been in the pub next door eating chips at that point, but we did go for the during the second hour, and it was really cool to hang out there. So once again, here's a little look at a trip to the 80s video shop, my last trip there for this year.
I do wholeheartedly recommend these books. I think VHS Ate My Brain, Revised Edition, and VHS Ate My Brain 2, The Revenge, they're very good, I recommend them.
So that was so fun. Alex really liked it, and the guys at the 80s video shop, Rob Lane and Chris Annable, were kind enough to film him in a promo video for the shop as well. So that was a lot of fun for Alex. He got to act with Art the Clown, and hang out in the shop and just promote it. And I love that, because I love that place dearly. So on today's video, we're going to talk about the year as it has been. So one of the biggest things for me this year, of course, let's get it out of the way. Yep, I released VHS Ate My Brain 2, The Revenge, finally, after many delays, and it's been a real pleasure to get that out there to everyone and have a new edition of that out. So I did the revised edition last year of the first book, which really needed an upgrade after a decade, and that was really cool. That came out really well. People seemed to like it, and thus I needed to do a sequel, because so much has changed in the last 10 years since the first book came out. So much has gone on in terms of collecting and people's awareness of VHS tapes, and the whole scene around that, and the scene around the world. I want to do something brand new for that. So this brings us up to date with my journey and the journey of VHS tapes and collectors around the world, and just the weird stuff that showed up in the news that featured VHS tapes as well. So with that aside, that has been, of course, a highlight for me. There's been a lot going on here on the channel, so let's take a look at some of my favorite parts of the videos. I could do just a greatest hits thing throughout the year and call that content, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have a little roll through the channel, and let's see some of the stuff that I got up to this year, and some recommendations. If you haven't seen these videos, just ones you can pop it back through and enjoy. Let's see what we got here. So the first one I did was on culling your streaming service. So there's the first one. So at the start of the year, I was really want to bring to people's attention that they didn't have to have all of these streaming services that they're not using. And remember to go through your stuff to make sure that you are not paying for things that you're not using. So what else do we get up to? I've had a lot of videos out this year that have been a lot of fun to do, but some of them really stuck out for me. So that, of course, there was the late night tape talks and the hunting. I've always loved doing those for you guys. One of my favorites was one I did that was like 4 hours long. Never done anything like that before, which is when I was working on VHS Ain't My Brain 2. So that was really fun to do and really fun to pull off as well. One of the big ones this year for me was taking my son Joe to meet Cassiette, the rock star, and that was a lot of fun. She was so cool with us, really friendly, really fun evening out. Not many people watched that one, but I don't care because it was just a great experience. MCon 2024 was always going to be the big one of the year. I love MCon. I love going to MCon. Took the kids, took one of the friends, and we just had a great time. My mum came along. Most people were in costume. She wasn't, but I'll get there eventually. She will get in costume at some point, I'm sure. And it was just a great time. I got boxes of free VHS from a buddy. That was fun to go through. I had a really epic weekend going to Japan Fest and seeing wrestling, things like that. That was a good one back in the summer. And of course, there was a Nottingham Video Games Expo, which I thought this year was a lot better than last year's. Still needs a little bit of work. It's still not perfect, but that was a really good event. So do check out the Video Game Expo video there as well. So I do recommend that you have a look at that one. I'm really pleased with how that came out. But there's been a lot of other stuff going on as well. There was the Nottingham Comic Con, which was just more like a toy market, but was still fun to go to. That was a good one to check out. There's the 80s Video Shop second anniversary, and there's all the stuff around the release of VHS Ain't My Brain, of course. VHS Ain't My Brain 2. I started the podcast again. That's been going well, so that will return in the new year along with further episodes of VHS Ain't My Brain, of Planet X. A big one towards the end of the year was the night where I got to go and see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the big screen with the director Steve Barron, and you get to meet him and hang out. Do check that out video out, that's a really good one. And Tape Stock 2 was the big one to end it, that was the last main video that I put up before going on hiatus due to illness and life stuff and work and just needing to just get things back in order a bit. Do check out Tape Stock 2. I really look forward to the next one. I do hope there is a next one. So yes, apart from that and VHS Ain't My Brain 2, it's been a great year of seeing friends and some great family times, and I look forward to hopefully many more of those to come. So as well, I got to play a couple of gigs with the band I get it with, Jan Doyle Band. So there was one in Sheffield, there's one in Derby, and there was one there's two in Sheffield actually. And they're always fun. It's a lot of chaos, but it is a lot of entertainment as well to hand out to people. So this is me on stage in Sheffield with JDB, and I'm really grateful that I get to do these things with them. They are such great people, and I really, really can't wait for you guys to hear the new track that I've worked on with them. It doesn't have a title yet. It's got lyrics, it's got guitar parts, so everything just needs to be put together into one, but we shall see about that soon. So what has been going on around the internet in terms of VHS? I've pulled out 4 stories from recent VHS news that have come up that I thought I would mention here. So Volavants, Viennetta, and VHS tapes fancy a 1980s Christmas in Clapham. Booking.com is giving you the chance to indulge your festive nostalgia this Christmas. Of course, I didn't know about this before Christmas. I could have been tempted. So there is literally, you can book into an Airbnb which is themed around an 80s home, and that's pretty cool. So guests will be welcome to the house on Rudlow Road with festive 1980s tunes, played on a classic vinyl record player, and a hamper filled with 80s Christmas buffet classics, including prawn cocktail, Swiss roll, trifle, Viennetta, and Volavants. Now, I'm going to mention here Arctic Roll. I loved Arctic Roll. Let me know in the comments down below if you remember Arctic Roll and if you liked it or if you hated it, because I have a disagreement with my wife over this because I thought it was great, she hated it, but you know. The home of Christmas Pass, to be able to book on a first come first served basis, and that's just great, just £19.80. But this includes like VHS tapes and vinyl and just an absolute retro feast. I wish I'd seen this sooner, to be honest. The next story that I pulled up is to do with Alien Romulus. So I know Alien Romulus has been a pretty big deal this year. It turned out to be a lot better than a lot of people thought it was going to be, and it got a release on VHS. Absolutely. And this is so cool. There's something about tapes, there's something about watching a movie on tape for me that is really evocative of a certain period. So I am curious what new viewers would make out of this, what just like a younger audience would make out of watching this on tape. Because one thing that comes to mind is that the effects, the production of it would be slightly hidden by the quality of the VHS tape. That's how it was for us back in the day. That's how it was when we were looking at, you know, multiple generation bootlegs of stuff. But I am curious to think what these people, what a newer audience would find to enjoy in this, because the movie's great, but would they enjoy it on VHS, to be honest? But it looks amazing. It's got a cool cover art, of course, cool cover art by Matt Ferguson, legend of pop culture artwork, a dude I used to work with in a comic shop. So I'm already invested in this because it's got Matt's artwork on it, and Matt is the real deal. He loves this stuff dearly, and it's just so cool to see him doing this. Every time I see one of his covers, I am thrilled, because it's like, I know how excited he is to get to do this stuff. It's so cool. So yeah, that's a really exciting thing to see out there. Because my first experience with the Alien movies were, of course, on VHS, and a beloved and well-worn copy of Aliens, which, oh man, that movie is just, that has aged very well, and I'm totally there for these things. So we've got a Screen Rant piece here as well. 30 rarest VHS tapes and how much they're worth. Now, this is one of those stories that comes up a lot, and I would hope that Screen Rant would know better than publishing all this stuff, where these things are open to interpretation. A lot of tapes that are mentioned in these things are not worth much. There's some examples here, like Tammy and the T-Rex. Yeah, that is a scarce one. There's Let It Be, because that was not released on other formats. That was the only way to see it for a long, long time. History of Violence, not entirely sure that's going to be getting that much money these days, but there is a whole load of tapes here that are interesting in terms of the arguments for why they are popular and why they are sought after. Yeah, granted, the 1982 release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's definitely going to be one that's going to be getting some money, getting some interest there. The ones that get me the worst, though, are these Disney tapes. There's always pieces online talking about how Disney tapes are worth thousands, and a lot of them are not. So do some research if you're going to look into that. But see what you think about this piece on Screen Rant, and see if you agree with any of these. Take a lot of it with a pinch of salt, because tapes are, the price of tapes, the value of them goes up and down all the time. It is really quite unpredictable, and these things are out of date pretty quickly. But beyond that, there's also things like this piece over on Forbes India, after vinyl VHS is making a comeback. So they're not really. VHS tapes aren't really making a comeback beyond some cult releases and a few things like the Alien Romulus version that came out, and a few things like the small scale releases of cult horror movies and so on, like Terrifier and things that have been getting a tape release. So this does bring up an interesting point now, that DVD and Blu-ray sales are plummeting in recent years. But that's like the mass market ones. The mass market ones, the cult DVDs, the cult Blu-rays still definitely have an audience, because it's people like that, people like me, that want to preserve those weird cult films that you can't get on streaming services, not in a decent format anyway. But that is an interesting one to think about. Again, the argument is coming back that VHS is going to make a comeback, but will it? Who knows? I don't think it will. But if there is a nuclear holocaust, what a cheerful thing to say, Andrew. If there is some form of terrible apocalypse, you can bet those tapes are still going to play. when you're in your underground bunkers, and that's when we're really going to come into our own. So all we've got to wait for is the apocalypse. So it's time to go and check out some tapes on eBay. How could I not do this one more time this year? I've got to go and see what's going on with X-Rental Horror over on eBay. So just put in horror VHS X-Rental. Really hoping my voice holds out till the end of this video. And we've got the Blob straight away. We've got the Blob there, and we've got a bundle of 3 tapes here. VHS X-Rental Big Box Bundle Horror. This is not a bad lot for £15 with the prices, the way things are at the moment with prices. This is not a bad lot. It's £15 for 3 tapes that are pretty good. And especially because it's got the Mangler in it, Robert Englund in a non-Freddy role. That's a really interesting one to have. Basically working out at £5 each for those 3, plus postage. That looks entirely fair. As does this X-Rental of Nightbreed. Nightbreed is not perfect. It's not perfect, especially for anyone that has read the Cabal novel. Or indeed just seen the movie. It's not perfect. There is a better cut of it out there, but I am still greatly enamored with Nightbreed and what they managed to put on the screen from that novel. It's an interesting work. It does bring Meridian to life as well as it could at the time, with a limited budget and limited resources. I think there was a really good job done of that. It could have been better, but you know, it'll probably get remade 15 times soon. We've got Waxwork for 20. So this is an interesting one because this was one of the tapes that used to be quite cheap all the time. You used to see this around for about £3 on eBay, or you'd see it for £1 in charity shops and that sort of thing. Not one I expected to see really getting a load of attention. I did do a podcast on this over the Silver Screen podcast where we talked about Waxwork, and it's a great movie, but it surprises me that that is kind of high. Lords of the Deep, don't see that around at £7, a decent price for it. We've got Graveyard Disturbance. Again, not one you see around that much, but that has gone up in price. Again, I thought that was a cheaper one back in the past. The Attic, £5, that's fine. Bad Dreams here. This has got £25 being asked for it. There's no bids on it, and it's 21 minutes left. So I don't think that's going to go for that. That is a shame. That is a great movie, but that to me is a £10 tape, if anything. I know prices have gone up. I know things have changed a lot recently since I was buying loads and loads of tapes, but Bad Dreams is a £10 tape. It's got a great trailer. The cover looks all right. The film is not as great as you would hope from such a cool trailer. What's been picked for me here? Let's have a look at this. So we've got the Blob Waxwork Hidden 2. Don't see Hidden 2 around much. So I understand why that is a £20 tape. However, House 3, see lots of house tapes around, very common horror tapes. So not really worth the 20, I would say. Hitcher, Seventh Sign, The Fear. It's interesting to see stuff like The Fear and Psychic at a relatively high price, because when they came out, they were not really appreciated that well. Class of 1999, I love that movie. That is absolutely worth $12.99. That's a really good price. Poltergeist, it's an X rental. Yeah, so that's a big box X rental. By the look of it, that's a good price for that. It also looks like it's pre-cert because that is an 18 that's been stuck on there after. Night Flyers, £10. You can't go wrong with that. However, underneath it, we've got Creepazoids, which I got for $2.99 from a video shop. And that was a new copy. It was like an overstock copy. And seeing this go up, I'm a bit confused by it because, you know, I love Creepazoids dearly, but it is not a great movie. The best thing about it, to be honest, is the cover art. I mean, it had Linnea Quigley in it, so I was, you know, was a big fan of that at the time. But it's got great cover art. And it's only like 76 minutes long, but $9.99, no bids. Still got 1 day, 20 hours left on it. We'll buy it now for £24. That seems an awful lot for not a particularly sought after tape. Hex, what's this one? The Tormentors, don't see that around very much. Again, Mausoleum, $24.99 or best offer. It's not going to go for that. $45 for Kingdom of the Spiders. I don't know. Again, another copy of Creepazoids at £15. That's better than 24. Still, no bids on it. Sorry, it's a buy it now. Halloween H2O, £8. That seems a lot. Strip to Kill, Invasion USA, Bat. It's really hard to predict because I have seen some tapes skyrocketing, things like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or Neon Maniacs or Video Dead, especially Video Dead. My God, that has gone up a lot. But doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to a lot of these. £10 for Shocker is a good price. £10 for a tape is a good price, plus postage, of course. But I think going beyond that at the moment, with how everyone's finances are, how insane everything is at the moment, that may be a bit much to ask. That's not a bad bundle there. It's 50 quid, but that's not a bad bundle. Let's have a look at this bundle here. Oh, Audition. Audition was awesome. $8.49 for the Unnameable. It was a cheap tape when it came out, but that is not very common. So Unnameable on the Unnameable returns. That's not a bad one to pay out for. Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I love that. I love that. It's terrible, but I love it dearly. This batch has got me here. This is interesting because we've got The Exorcist. We've got Pet Sematary 2. So The Exorcist and Pet Sematary 2 straight away. Those are the interesting ones to have. Hellraiser 3, not so much. We've got Urban Legends 2. But here we've got Return of the Living Dead 3, which is a great tape. Although that is looking rough, man. Let's have a look at the state of that. The tape's looking okay. Tape's looking in decent condition. However, that case is a bit rough. But if you can get past that, that's a great one to have in your collection. Why would you stamp the video company over her head? Ah, dear. But that's not a bad batch. Each one's working at about a tenner there. That's looking good. It's Kindred, £20. Great trailer, rubbish movie. Nightmare Weekend, I get that one because that's not an edition you see very, very much. £5 for Tales from the Dark Side. Don't know if I'd really want that though. If you read up on the Tales of the Dark Side movie and stuff that happened with that, it's not ideal. Cameron's Closet, £6. That's a great price for that. That's a really good price. Vampire in Venice, Klaus Kinski, that's a good one. That's not terrible. Headhunter, that was, I liked it at the time, but looking back on it, it is toss, and that's one I got for like $1.99. Okay, we got one here with 7 tapes. And they're asking £50 for this. Let's open this one to see how we can. Let's end the video on this one, see what this one's worth. Okay, all right, £50. So that works out at less than a tenner for each tape, as there are 7 tapes here. That is not bad at all. We've got Robert Englund in Phantom of the Opera. We've got, as mentioned earlier, The Mangler, also featuring Robert Englund. We've got Retro Puppet Master. Not the best in the Puppet Master series, by a long way, but that is not a bad tape to have. Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh. Looks a bit faded, but still a good movie. 976 Evil and 976 Evil 2, The Return. Those are a great pair of X-Rentals. Both on Medusa. Love Medusa. And Body Bags. Not that sought after, not that exciting to me, but the others are really cool. So £50, that is not a bad deal, I don't think, for those 7 tapes. You do have to shop around, but it is all down to the particular collector and what that collector wants, what that person wants from these tapes. So we've had a look around the tapes, we've had a look around the VHS news, I've had a little reminisce about this year, and now I'm going to go and rest my voice. Thank you for sticking with me this year. Thank you to the new subscribers that have arrived when I've not been posting videos. I'll be back in the new year. It may be another couple of weeks before I'm back, but the Planet Hex will be returning, and the VHS My Brain podcast will also be returning. Thank you for sticking with me through this year. Thank you for an awesome year. Thank you to the people that I've met this year that come and had books signed and shaking hands and things like at Tape Stock 2. And thank you for everyone that has watched these videos and for the comments you leave. I really, really do appreciate it. I'll be back in the new year. Thanks for everything this year. I'm Andrew Horn. Thank you for watching this episode of Planet Hex.